I wanted to make a video on the pull because it's something that for many years I couldn't decide, I couldn't work out what it was trying to tell me, what it was, and why I was getting it and what it meant and all these kind of things. Obviously, over the years, I've been like, oh, it's the pull, it's pulling us together, or it's doing this, or it's doing that. So here is what I feel about the physical sensations you're going to feel going through this journey. Obviously, there's an emotional and a thought process going on as well. But in this video, I just simply want to focus on the more physical aspects of the journey. And having been on it for a long time and feeling like I've come out the other side of it, I felt guided to share my thoughts on it. Now, obviously, this is my perceptions, my experience, and my conversation with higher self and my intuitive knowing. So if you disagree, that's cool, and you've got your own journey. So, but hopefully it will help to clear some things up for people and some of the questions that I've been wanting answers to on my journey that I now feel I have the answers to. So what is that pull? Well, first of all, it's about deciphering where it comes from. Now, for me, when I first felt the pull, it was in my sacral sort of stomach area, sacral chakra area, and it was incredibly strong. And when I was awoken in 2010, and I put this straight down to having met my twin flame because the pull kicked in, and it was just absolute constant torture because not only was I mentally 100% of the time thinking about this person, I was feeling this pull to them physically as well, to the point where I literally would feel like my insides were going to be pulled out of my body. It was like being in a tight pressure cooker, and it was just like not excruciating screaming in pain, but it was just so intense and the pressure was so much. And along with all the regular Kundalini things like being wiped out for days, not being able to get out of bed for days, all my body aching, shooting sensations, energy sensations, like weird cold patches on the back of my head, third eye pain, everything, a lot of those things I feel are Kundalini symptoms, ascension symptoms. I know we like to put everything down to, oh, it's the union, it's the merging, it's the pulling, and that's fine if you want to do that, but my experience is that it has nothing to do with that. And there is, don't get me wrong, a pulling together to your twin flame, that always will be. And also, don't get me wrong, there are ways that you can feel one another and you can feel a connection between one another. So I'm not dismissing that completely, but what I'm saying is that a lot of these things that you're feeling going through your body are Kundalini awakening and ascension symptoms, and the fluttering, the higher heart, thymus chakra, and a lot of the pulling is your core wound being activated. Now, I don't have any sacral chakra pulling at all whatsoever anymore. And I haven't had it, I've had it maybe very, very, very briefly over even the past couple of months. Whereas when I first began the journey, it was absolutely constant and it was barely livable through. So it's something for me that has sort of eased up over the journey to the point of nothing. And now all my pulling sensation, and this is kind of also how I've managed to move forwards with understanding where my connection lies, because I've always felt an energetic connection, but like I've said in a few videos, like the physical representation of that has changed. And now I'm starting to have clarity because my connection I feel only in the heart chakra now, so everything is here. And that is the big difference that I would like to say, that when you're feeling that pulling and it's from your sacral chakra, my full belief is that that is your core wound being placated. So you have a core wound, and you will meet people that really activate your core wound and pull it, and your twin flame will be the only person with the actual exact matching core wound. So the reason we have pulls to people and that like real kind of pull, it comes from your core wound wanting to be placated. So basically you're desperate for you're desperate for your core wound to be made better, to be felt better. You're desperately trying to get what you get from, say you've got a core wound and it began with the father, you're always trying to get from the father, from the male figure, what you didn't get from your father, but you'll be searching for it in similar people. And it's almost like that's why you have these pulls and these energetic pulls to certain people, because they're there to bring awareness to your core wound so you can work through it and you can heal it. And the more you heal it, the less you're going to get that pull. You won't have a pull. You'll have a heart-centered connection and a magnet in your heart. And that's, it's like, now I know that union is on the way and I'm just excited, and it doesn't matter what happens or if there's a setback, because I still remain excited. And there's a very different feeling. It's like a magnet and a heart center and a radiant and a connection and a magnet. And it's all here. There's this stuff down here is gone now. I don't have that anymore, and I haven't had that for a little while. And it's why I only have excitement about what's going to happen. I don't have that fear, the panic, the questioning, just the excitement and the heart center of it. But for a long, long time, for years, I had this sacral pulling. And what it does is it is so desperate to kind of be placated and to have your core wound made to feel better, so it's not raw and raging. So say, for example, you can't bear to be abandoned, and your core wound is something around abandonment, then it will be desperately trying to get attention from these people that trigger it, to the point where you'll be so compelled to reach out, and it will be compulsive that you'll just do it over and over and over and over again. Or if it's in more of a fear mode, you'll be pulling away from that. But the core, that kind of need to act and that pulling and that desperation that comes from the core, comes from the sacral chakra, is your core wound calling out to you, really, and asking for attention, asking to be healed. So it's about going into that, looking into that. Why have I got it? And why have I got this connection to this person that it's not going well with, that this is happening with? And then you can bring awareness to it, you can integrate it, and you can work through it. So my real strong belief at this point of the journey is that sacral chakra pulling is not indicative of a twin flame connection. It's indicative of actually quite a kind of karmic connection. Doesn't mean that you can't have that with your twin flame and it will then go on to become a heart-centered connection, because that is possible as well. And that's where everyone's journey is very, very unique. Some people will have this core wound activation with people along the journey, really, really strong connections, who they will do all their journey with, and then they will, meet their twin flame and have the heart-centered connection. And some people will have both parts of the journey in kind of one package, if that makes sense. And it's all going to feel like all part of the same journey. So whatever your experience is, it's not right or wrong. Every single journey is unique, and there's no like cookie cutter path for this, because it's all very dependent on your wounds and what you're here to heal. But there are obviously similarities and sort of markers, so to speak, on the twin flame journey that we know we're on it. But yeah, I just wanted to talk about the pull. So the aim, I believe, is to move past the sacral pulling and to a purely heart-based feeling. And I believe that the core wound is sort of stored in the sacral. And that's why you have this sacral pulling, is because you're being asked to draw attention to the core wound that's being pulled on, and to bring healing to it, to integrate it, and to work out where it came from. So I hope this helped some people, but it's been coming very clear to me lately. And I know for a long time I didn't understand what that sacral pull was, and that intense connection that in my kind of stomach area. So I feel like I have pure clarity on that. And also I can come here to say that when you've done a lot of work on yourself and you've healed it, and you've healed your core wound, it does actually disappear, or it has for me. I do not have that anymore. So I hope that just clarified a few things. And hope it helped.